Turns out we might have been wrong about a big part of the rumored Modern Warfare 2 offering. With the reveal of Modern Warfare 2 last week, we learned quite a bit about the game. Mostly campaign, some multiplayer stuff, and to many surprise, even Spec Ops, a mode that up until this point had been not mentioned nearly at all in any leaks, if any at all. Curiously unmentioned and entirely disregarded, though, was that rumored mode of DMZ, the mode that was meant to be and described as Call of Duty's take on a looter shooter similar to Escape from Tarkov. I mean, we even heard more about Warzone too, so what happened to DMZ? Where did it go? Is there any update on that and what we can expect? Well, actually, kind of seems like yes, and that's what we're going to be discussing here in this video today. What exactly happened with DMZ and the lack of information on it? As we go along, drop your thoughts down below. What do you think about this potential delay to a major mode in Modern Warfare 2's offering? Do you think this was always the plan, or do you think it was something that was just kind of adjusted on the fly because it wasn't quite ready? Whatever the case, drop your thoughts below, but if you enjoyed the video, you find it at all insightful, do me a favor and drop a like on it, and if you're new to the channel, do be sure to hit the subscribe button. We're chasing down 500,000 subscribers here, so if you'd like to stay up to date with all things Modern Warfare 2, among all things COD related, I'd love to have you in the community. That said, let's jump into it. So what is DMZ to start? Maybe you're brand new to the channel. We've had a bit of an influx in the audience here since the reveal, and we haven't really discussed it in any capacity since then. So if you haven't heard anything about DMZ, it was a reported project that was cut from development in Modern Warfare 2019, then was revisited after completion of that game's content with the intention to ship it with a sequel, that being this year's Modern Warfare 2. This was first presented back in November of last year by insider Ralph's Valve, whose track record has checked out quite a number of times here in the past. The rumored mode was going to act similarly to Escape from Tarkov, a looter shooter out there for those that may be familiar with that. Multiple maps though from the shared Warzone 2 and Modern Warfare 2 world coming together, kind of like ground war maps and Spec Ops experiences from Verdansk in Modern Warfare 2019 were, to drop in, loot up, and extract with the goal to increase your inventories as much as possible. From there you could accrue your wealth and items, sell those items in an in-game market for an in-game and in-mode specific currency, not like COD points or anything that would transfer over to cosmetic purchases, but instead things that would allow you to buy more items in that game mode. Attachments for guns, utility and healing items, expansions for inventories and backpacks, that's all been rumored with that. So a whole host of things to expand and grow that inventory and your items in game. Essentially, it was going to be an entirely new experience to Call of Duty players, attempting to offer a new way to engage with Call of Duty as Warzone was, but just like Warzone, the concept of a looter shooter, as with a battle royale, it wasn't a new idea to the industry, but instead would be Call of Duty's twist on it and would be another additional way to increase the longevity and hopeful grind factor of the game, taking out Spec Ops in the process and being a whole new experience, much larger in scale, in content offering, and always having something to do. Overall, the mode sounded really cool. It seemed like a different way to play the game, a game within a game for that. So for that, myself and many others were excited. Recently though, it was re-reported by insider The Ghost of Hope that the game mode was looking to launch in beta, furthering a rumor that Ralph ended up putting out in November, stating that the game would launch in a beta status, not with the beta, but in beta, meaning the game would be released whenever it was, but with a core design pillar in mind to expand the mode based upon feedback once the game was out in a live environment to everybody, finishing up and making it something that players could adequately give their feedback and build a game with the developers. But that was really the last that we heard about it until the reveal, because then we saw details on the campaign, system overhauls, multiplayer, Warzone 2 to a degree, and more surprisingly, that Spec Ops was confirmed for the launch of Modern Warfare 2. Quoting Charlie Intel, Infinity Ward stated that Spec Ops will return in Modern Warfare 2 with more information on co-op being announced at a later date. No information on the rumored DMZ mode was shared at their briefing. So what the heck happened to DMZ? That was such a massive part of what we heard about with Modern Warfare 2 leading up to that point. So was it all just wrong? Was it all shifted? What happened here? That's where industry insider The Ghost of Hope stepped in and simply reintroduced his earlier reporting with arrows to 2023. And by that, it seems like we're no longer getting it at launch, but instead at some point during 2023. Beta status still unanswered, maybe fully completed by that point, but we don't quite know. What makes this even stranger is that while we saw this report that it would be shifted to 2023, we also around that time saw a job listing from Infinity Ward's Poland studio looking for someone to work on an open world RPG. Now, that's interesting because we heard the initial leaks of DMZ back in November use the exact same wording, open world, to describe what DMZ would actually be. So to me, that kind of matches up there that this was for DMZ, and in a now deleted tweet from Ralph, he claimed the same, that this job listing was indeed for DMZ's game mode. So what does that mean? Well, one, it seems like that team is still going to be expanding for DMZ and potentially even expanding for further support going out past whenever the game just launches and when we end up seeing DLC maps drop or something for that. But it also means that the initial content offering of Modern Warfare 2 may have shifted. Whether that was all the plan altogether, Spec Ops being planned from the very beginning and it just wasn't really stated or well reported or got misconstrued in communication error, whatever the case, maybe that's something that Spec Ops was indeed meant to be that third mode the entire time, or maybe it was something that was just thrown in there to allow for more completion time on DMZ. Either one of those could very well be the case, and industry insider reports could have been wrong. That kind of happened with Warzone back in 2019, if I'm not mistaken. Warzone was rumored for a long while leading up to Modern Warfare 2019, but was not a launch mode, obviously. We saw that in March of 2020, so perhaps it's the same situation. With leaks and insider reports, those things, even at their most accurate levels, are only indicative of one small snapshot in development, and oftentimes aren't 100% exactly as described by the end of the road. Things in development do change, have targets shifted, and many other things that this could be an example of that. Personally, for me, I'm really curious to see if that is indeed what happens, and admittedly, I don't know that I quite mind it. I know that may very well differ from some people that may be like, what the hell, give me everything that we heard about, and I get that, but for a number of reasons, especially this year, to me it's not really detrimental to the overall offering for Modern Warfare 2 and what we may see in the year upcoming. Of course, we do have Modern Warfare 2 launching with campaign, now Spec Ops, and a multiplayer experience. Fingers crossed all of those are filled out to their entirety to what we expect normally of a Call of Duty game. A lot of maps, a lot of modes, a lot of weaponry, and all things to play around on that multiplayer side of things. But also, we got to consider that we have Warzone launching shortly after in 2022, stated by Infinity Ward. So that's not something that we're going to see hold off until the spring of 2023. So we do have a lot up front to keep us very busy. But when you take a look at this upcoming year and potentially two, as rumored that we'll end up seeing in regards to support for Modern Warfare 2, while Treyarch gets an extra year of development to allow for them to launch their next game in 2024, what's going to fill out that additional extra year? Now, I don't think that DMZ would end up shifting that far back where that then is launched as something of an expansion for Modern Warfare 2 in the fall of 2023, but maybe springtime, maybe sometime early summer, in which it reinvigorates the player base by adding an entire extra wing of the game into Modern Warfare 2 at that point. We are going to be kept plenty busy between launch of Modern Warfare 2, Season 1 of Modern Warfare 2, Warzone 2, whenever that ends up happening. So perhaps it is something that just allows for more expanded content to be over time released to allow more players interest instead of just dying out after a couple of months and then not having any new Call of Duty items to play for the next 2 years. On another hand, one thing that could be a genuine concern is perhaps if the mode wasn't quite ready. And again, I'll come back to that. If it's delayed for that reason, I don't quite mind as much, especially if Spec Ops is something that is expanded upon, gives a full offering, and is something that could stand on its own as is. But if we're taking DMZ and trying to rush it into the launch of the game and it's not quite ready, I would much rather avoid that Warzone Pacific experience, entirely broken with launch. So we'll see how that all breaks down, but with a delay, then I partially wonder this next part. Could it be free-to-play standalone potential like we saw with Warzone? That was something that was unheard of up until that point, and while it was something that with Ralph's initial reporting on DMZ back in November, it was stated that that was not the initial case. Maybe that did change here. Maybe we will see free-to-play DMZ and more of an opportunity for players to then come into the Call of Duty franchise by playing something like Escape from Tarkov, but under that umbrella of Call of Duty. That's what Warzone did, offering up new ways to play Battle Royale in a free-to-play nature, bring those maybe not necessarily familiar with or that wouldn't normally play Call of Duty, bring them into the fold and allowing them to experience Modern Warfare 2019, Black Ops Cold War, and potentially even Vanguard. So maybe that's something to also consider. But right now, it seems like DMZ isn't going to be at launch, which I think is the biggest plot twist, curveball, whatever you want to call it here, in what we've seen so far from Modern Warfare 2. So that said, that's where we're going to wrap it up. I would love to hear your thoughts and feedback down there in the comment section down below. What do you think of this? Are you guys liking the potential that we will see DMZ as a larger scale expansion later on down the line? Were you hoping to see it at launch? Whatever the case, drop your thoughts below. But if you enjoyed the video, do me a favor and drop a like on it. If you're new to the channel, hit that subscribe button so you don't miss a single thing running all things Modern Warfare 2. Anything new in regards to information, updates, leaks, all that good stuff, we got you covered here on the channel. So if you're at all interested, I'd love to have you in the community. That said, thanks so much for watching. My name is Espresso. I'll see you guys later. Take care and peace.